Hello students. So I hope whatever we have learned till now you all understood that things very much. Just we are revising the things which we have learned till now. First we have learned gravitation. The term gravitation is discovered by Isaac Newton. Then we have seen the various concepts related to that. Then the force and motion. You all know that force is necessary to change the speed as well as the direction of motion of an object, and it is really important to do all the activities. Then circular motion and centripetal force. Force act upon any object moving along the circle and it is directed towards the center of the circle is called centripetal force. I hope you all are clear with this. This definition is very important. Students, remember this. Then we have learned Kepler's laws of motion. Who discovered these laws of motion? Kepler. So the first law is the orbit of planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the foci. We have seen detail this law. Then the second is the line joining the planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal interval of time. And the third law is the square of its period of revolution around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun, that is t square upon r cube. So I hope these all terms, they are very important. You have to learn this, you have to remember this for your exams, okay, and for your assignments also. So today we are going to move towards the next topics in our chapter number 1, gravitation, and our today's topic is Newton's universal law of gravitation. What is Newton's universal law of gravitation? So according to this law, every object in the universe attracts every other object with a definite force, and this force is directly proportional to the product of the masses of the two objects, and it is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. What do you mean by this? We will see next. So here you can see m1 and m2, these are the two masses of two objects, and d is a distance between them. So according to the law, force is directly proportional to masses, that means m1 and m2, and it is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them, that means d square. So F is equal to what? G m1 m2 upon d square. What is G? G is a universal gravitational constant, and the unit of G is Newton meter square, kg raised to minus 2. And in SI unit, the value of G is equal to 6.673 into 10 raised to minus 2 Newton meter square, kg raised to minus 2. So students, we have seen that m1 and m2, these are the two spherical objects. If the mass of one object is double, then the force between the two objects also double. If m1 gets double, then force is also get double. Also, if the distance is double, then the force is decreased by a factor of 4. If d is double, students, earlier we have seen that force is decreased by a factor of 2. But if distance is double, then it is decreased by a factor of 4. Now here you can see m1 and m2, these are the two spherical bodies. Then if the two bodies are spherical, then the direction of force is always along the line joining the center of two bodies, and the distance between the center is taken as t. Then the direction of force is where it is along the line joining center of two bodies. And now imagine if m1 is spherical and m2 is having a rectangular shape. Then what happened? The two bodies having irregular shape. Then the direction of force is along the line joining their center of mass, and d is always taken as distance. Distance between the two center of masses. Okay. So next term is uniform circular motion and magnitude of centripetal force. We have seen earlier what is centripetal force, students. Remember the term. You have to consider an object moving in a circle with a constant speed. If m is a mass of the object, v is its speed, r is the radius of circle, then force is equal to what? mv square divided by r. Here the planets are moving around the sun with a Sun is at the center and centripetal force is applicable over here. Speed is equal to distance traveled divided by time taken. So the distance traveled by the planet in one revolution is equal to perimeter of an orbit. What is perimeter of an orbit? It is 2 pi r. R is a distance of planet from the sun, and the period of revolution, that is equal to time taken, is denoted by the symbol t. So v means speed is equal to distance traveled divided by time taken is equal to 2 pi r divided by t. F is equal to mv square upon r, we have seen earlier. So mv means 2 pi r upon t. So we are putting the value of v square, that is 2 pi r divided by t square divided by r is equal to 4m pi square r divided by t square. Multiplying and dividing by r square, what we will get? F is equal to 4m pi square divided by r square is equal to r cube divided by t square. According to the k plus third law, what we have seen? T square divided by r cube is equal to k. So F is equal to 4m pi square divided by r square k, but 4m pi square divided by k is equal to what? Constant. Thus the Newton concluded that the centripetal force, which is the force acting on the planet and it is responsible for its circular motion, must be inversely proportional to the square of distance between the planet and the sun. Hence Newton postulates the inverse square law of gravitation. Students, you must have heard about the term low and high tides in the sea. So what is exactly that? We are going to see next. High and low tides occurs at the different times at the different places in the sea. The level of water in the sea changes because of the gravitational force exerted by the moon. So why this happens? So water directly under the moon gets pulled towards the moon, and the level of water there goes up, causing high tide at that place. At the two places on the earth at 90 degree from the place of high tide, the level of water is minimum and low tide occurs as shown in the figure. You can see in the image, moon and earth is there, and the two places at the 90 degree, what is there? Yes, the two places high tide is there, and the two places we are seeing the low tides at the two places. Earth gravitational force. What is earth gravitational force? Earth attracts every object near it towards itself because of the gravitation force. So the center of mass of earth is situated at its center. So the gravitational force on any object due to the earth is always directed towards the center of the earth. Similarly, when we throw a stone vertically upward, what happens? This force tries to pull it down, reduces its velocity. Due to this constant downward pull, the velocity becomes zero after a while. The pull continues to be exerted and stone starts moving vertically downward towards the center of the earth. Then, according to Newton's law of gravitation, every object attracts every other object. So if the earth attracts apple towards itself, apple also attracts the earth towards itself with the same force. The gravitation force due to the earth also acts on the moon, because of which it revolves around the earth. Similar situation exists for the artificial satellite. The moon and the artificial satellite orbit the earth. The earth attracts them towards itself, but unlike the falling apple, they do not fall on the earth. Why? This is because of the velocity of the moon and the satellite along their orbit. If the velocity was not there, then they would fallen on the earth. So because of the velocity which is there around them, because of this they didn't fall on the earth. So student, I hope you are clear with this. We have seen earth gravitational force, then low and high tides, speed. You have to remember this theorem, it is very important. Then uniform circular motion. Yes, F is equal to m1 m2 upon d square. This is very useful for your numericals and the Newton's universal law of gravitation. I hope you all are clear with this. Thank you.